Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to put on your proverbial big boy pants, as it is now start of the quarterfinals of the AFC Asian Cup. Okay, we're here. So, for the first match, as a bit of a clarification, the VAR will be implemented into this competition. So, it is going to be very interesting to see how the VAR will take into effect with them having obvious, in Australia specifically, of how controversial the whole VAR situation has been. So it's really going to be interesting to see, because as this is the first match, and just as a bit of a pre-convention, this is not going to show any footage. It's a live commentary. So yeah. Okay, we're just trying to make sure everything's working. Everything should be out and done. Yep, should be all set. So the match today, the first match actually, because this is a double header, Vietnam versus Japan. It is a match that can really go either way, which has been a big theme in terms of this tournament. Could Japan go through as they are arguably, I think, one of, if not the most successful team in this competition, or will Vietnam cause arguably one of the biggest upsets in Asian football history? Only time will tell with 90 minutes or 120 minutes, even that, and penalties. We will find out. So where have I been? Mostly, just been actually not feeling very well, being sick, as obviously, and also being the weather being absolutely ridiculously hot. It has been a bit topsy-turvy, but we're back, and I'm promising to do every single match of the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, the third place match, and the final. That is a guarantee. We're just feeling a lot better, very pumped up for this double header. And so pretty much what will happen is this stream will end and it will go to feeling better now. Yep, 100% feeling a lot better. And so pretty much after this stream, there's another stream already organised for the China and Iran match, which is a lot of interesting matchups, and especially speaking from my country's perspective of Australia, not many easy matches if anything gets chucked into its way, as obviously we got to play the host nations of the UAE, which is going to be that's going to be interesting, especially how we went to penalties against Uzbekistan. So getting up to about 10 minutes left until kickoff for the Japan match. Even though it's late at night, it's still ridiculously hot. UAE have not been great though. What have you thought of the tournament? The tournament has been quite good. I mean, obviously there has been a few refereeing mishaps, but it's something to just usually expect for these tournaments. The problem is, though, is what will VAR do, because it now is implemented. But the tournament as a whole has actually been quite good. There's been a lot of exciting football, a lot of shock results, like particularly with Vietnam, who were playing tonight, defeating Jordan, which was I never fully expected. Also, that one game went to penalties, and it showed how Vietnam at the time had the better nerve, which is pretty good for them, because I remember they've spent ridiculous amounts of money into their footballing skill, and it has really shown. I believe there was like their under. I think one of their youth teams made it all the way to a final actually, which was I think was like an AFC thing, and I believe don't quote me on this, but I think they won it. So it just shows how Vietnam are really starting to push themselves as a power in West Asia. Ugh. Just realised the pixels on this phone is a little bit off. Just trying to see if everything's working. Oh, there we go. We're plunged into darkness. So it should be all good. Yep. So yeah, Kelly, with the situation, my phone at the moment, which is what I'm streaming on here at the moment, it's a bit odd because like the top part of the phone here is a bit odd. It's like it's not registering with anything moving. Okay, we're now getting the betting odds for anyone who wants a punt. Currently, oh wow, Japan $1.30 favourites to Vietnam $12, and a draw after 90 minutes is $4.75. So that's if you want to believe in the David versus Goliath story, put your money on Vietnam. And I believe it said the cheapest score predictions is 1-0 and 2-0 with Japan at $5.50. We're getting that that Bet365 knowledge. Okay, we've got to be close to the game. Let's just. It's going to be. So we got most of the crowd's already building up for for both sides, and here we go. The players are walking out. Vietnam versus Japan, the first of the quarterfinals and the first of the use of VAR. Okay, here we go. There it is. They're showing the VAR right now. Interesting there, they are not revealing who the players' names are, because I would be surprised that if anything goes wrong, death threats would be thrown like there has been in Australia. I will say though, there's a fair amount more Vietnam fans than Japan fans at the moment. Here you go, the national anthems. Okay, here we go. So, I always like the Japan national anthem. I think it's actually probably one of the best national anthems out there. It's short and sweet, but like the music's very atmospheric. But here we go. The first round. No, not the first round. Oh my, the first match of the quarterfinals. And just a big clarification: this ain't showing the footage, so if you're confused by that, you should tilly tell. But you can wait a few, maybe about 5 minutes, because the bots will come in and give all the links, which I very highly appreciate. I welcome all bots. Ugh, better take a big drink. Brenton Speed and Andy Harper are on commentary, arguably Australia's most hated commentators. All the referees are from the United Arab Emirates. Good on them. Why they hated? I thought they were loved. They're all right, but the problem is though is like they have a fair amount of. Oh, here we go. VAR. Mohamed Al Tabin Jahari from Singapore and Paolo Valeri from Italy, and Chris Beef. Chris Beef is VAR, the best referee Australia has. I am so happy. Oh, good on you, Chris Beef. But Brenton Speed and Andy Harper, they're good commentators, but the problem is though they're very biased to like specific teams in Australia. But I don't want to get into that because that's going to be a upcoming video, so you can get ready when I pretty much take the piss out of everything that is Australian football. Okay, so predictions. Will Japan move on to the semi-finals, or will Vietnam cause a massive upset? The likes of its kind hasn't been seen since the fall of Saigon in 1975. Who knows? Really puts it into a perspective, because I know Keisuke Honda retired from international duty. It would be very interesting to actually see what could happen if Japan get knocked out abruptly, about what would happen if Honda was still playing. But here we go. The game is about to kick off. And no, Kagawa, yeah, that's true. Kagawa isn't playing. Here we go. The countdown's on. The kickoff of the quarterfinals. And VAR into the tournament. It's happened. Let's go. And the ball has been kicked over the top from Japan and has gone straight out of bounds, with Chris Beef as main VAR person. Good on him. Vietnam currently. What is probably to be expected here is within the first 5 minutes is both teams trying to find their groove. We have to establish that groove, or unless it's going to be a bad time. And currently Vietnam have possession on it in their defense. And they try to clear it upfield, but it's been one down. VAR, also last question, what do you live stream? Do you enjoy it? I feel like it's a lot great because you're able to communicate with viewers like live. So it's also why I kind of like the new Premiere feature on YouTube. and I'm really keen on using it, but it's just what I feel like a whole lot more natural. Okay, so now Japan, a minute 13 gone. Japan currently have it in possession or in their defense. They're trying to send the ball over the top, and it's just going to land straight to the hands of the Vietnamese keeper. The kick has gone out, and it's found back onto the head of Japan, but it's gone to Vietnam now into the midfield. And I'm pretty sure this is actually the last match I've heard to be played in Dubai for the rest of the tournament. Don't know if that's accurate, but don't quote me on it. Both teams are trying to get rid of their nerves as Japan pass it back to their goalkeeper, who just about clears it. And it's a foul from behind, and that's going to be called back for a free kick for Japan right on halfway. Yeah, it's a bit of a clip to the back of the head. Hajime Moriyasu has a little notebook, good on him. And now Japan now have possession on the far end of Vietnam's half. And Vietnam have picked the ball back up. Doing a little El Rondo, and they sent it down the line, and now they have entered Japan's half. But Japan's defense is quite vigorous as it's 3 against 7. They're on the edge of the 18, cleared away, and it's going to be a corner for Vietnam. Nice little bit of build-up play there by Vietnam, but the tracking back by the Japan team is quite a sight to behold. It just shows about the challenge that is going to be risen up for Vietnam, especially with experienced defenders like Yoshida. So now Vietnam, the first corner coming in from the far end. He's passed it short. He's trying to cross it in. It's come off a defender for Japan. It's another corner for Vietnam. Minamino is where it came off. They're number 9. Vietnam trying to take the second corner. It's whipped in, it's short along the line, and it gets dealt away. Will be a throw-in to Vietnam. A little bit too low and a little bit too close to the goal line there. And if it wasn't for the player clearing it away, it would have been a goal kick, but so Vietnam still have possession. Trying to take up to the corner flag, and that is great ghosting for the ball to go as a goal kick for Japan. Both teams looking quite tense out here, trying to obviously settle down nerves as it is for every match, especially now with the finals now well into action. The ball is now being played down the middle of halfway, which has been collected now by Vietnam. But Japan have now also picked it back up. Try to get a through ball through, but it lands straight at the feet of Japan's goalkeeper. I mean, Vietnam's goalkeeper. It's been too long. So it's now a throw-in to Vietnam near the halfway in Vietnam's half. It's got to walk about 20 yards. Yep, the referee was telling him to move back, I was about to say. Trying to play down the line. There was a little bit of a barge there, and the ball goes out, and it'll be still a throw-in to Vietnam. it's almost very observant of Japan's match against Saudi Arabia, where Japan clearly played the counter-attack play, as they only had roughly just under 30% of the possession, but still came out 1-0 winners in the round of 16. Japan now down the other side of the field. There's a nice play to try to cross the wings, and they have it. They've fallen it to number 19. Try to go over the top. Meets a header of a defender from Vietnam. Vietnam throw it in. It goes near halfway, but it's won back by Japan. But it's fallen to Vietnam, and now they're playing down the near end, but its defender has stopped it. Vietnam have won the ball back as well. A little flow up. They're messing around with the ball a little bit. They've sent it out to the far end. He goes for the shot. It's headed away by Japan's defender. And now Japan now. Could they be starting up a counter-attack? Oh, that is well defended, but they've caught it back for a foul on Japan. Is it? Oh, yeah, that's a foul. And now Japan now. They've thrown the ball down the near end. They're trying to cross the ball in. They're cleared away, but it's fallen to number 21. And a player, or if that Japanese player went down, that could have very interestingly could have been a penalty. But anyways, it's only fallen for a goal kick to Vietnam. And by the way, it's looking, the coach of Vietnam is sitting on a stool. And the kick has gone well into Japan's half, but it's won again by Japan. The Vietnam cleared away, but it'll just go as a throw-in for Japan inside Vietnam's half. Japan now try to swap fielders, but Vietnam have been able to pick the ball up, but they're being heavily pressed here by Japan, and the ball has fallen to Japan, and they try to get a through ball through, but it's just fallen to the feet again of the Vietnamese goalkeeper. Vietnam again losing it near halfway, and it's Japan's ball now. Got a nice little bit of run, but that's just a bad touch there by Japan, and the ball will go out for a throw into Vietnam in Vietnam's own half. And they try to cross it over the field, and it goes over the heads of all the Vietnamese players, and it'll be a throw-in down to Japan. And try to get a throw over the top, and it is a race for the ball, but the sideline will win, and it'll be a throw-in to Japan. Japan are still very much controlling the ball here at the moment. They are happily trying to open up an attack and passing around their defense. Really starting to press back against the Vietnamese. Vietnam now have gotten the ball back and they try to send it over the top, but it just falls back to Japan's defense. Shows how how experienced they are. Japan now trying to hold the ball and try again to squeeze all of the Vietnamese players because they're in a very tight formation as of now, which can expose Japan as of now, exposing it over their flanks. Now Vietnam trying to get back, and again another top through ball just keeps landing into Japan's defense. Japan now just passed around their entire defense, trying to expose a flank and try to get a goal in there. So I don't know, prediction with the final score 2-0 to Japan. But as of now, Vietnam have picked the ball back up here. Could they expose something here on the counter attack? Number 10 with a shot, but it goes wide. So it's a goal kick to Japan. Minutes currently gone. It is Vietnam 0, Japan 0, as Japan are really starting to put a stranglehold on the possession stats against Vietnam. But Japan have now lost it here in the midfield. Could they start going for a counter-attack? Number 10 is going. He's trying to get around the entire Vietnamese defense, or Japanese defense. Trying to wait for players to back up here. There's nobody running to the flanks. So and the Japanese track back is very interesting to see, as it's like 8 players taking on 3 attackers. But the way they're seeing it, Japan are starting to settle in quite well. And Vietnam have passed the ball straight to Japan's defense. Japan have potentially won it back here. They try to get a ball across. That is an offside, surely. And the Vietnamese fans have taken a while to realise that the flag had went up. How far was he offside? Clearly. About 2-3 metres offside there. Anyways, now Japan are now on the other end. They've had a lot of time of possession with the ball. The problem is that Japan have not really done much with it. And try to send a ball over the top of Japan. It lands straight to the hands of the Vietnamese goalkeeper. Vietnam goalkeeper has booted it really far. Like, I mean, that's impressive. Now it's the Vietnam defense currently now with possession of the ball, playing with a little El Rondo. And they still have possession over. They try to go over the top. Has it work and will be headed back to the Japanese goalkeeper who picks it up. Japan will hold for possession for an extended period of time just to really enclose the Vietnamese players, get them into a really tight squeeze. So, and Vietnam. But we'll say that Vietnam are starting to contest it a fair bit now. But Japan are still vigorously holding on to possession. And we'll see the tactics now starting to work in as Japan are trying to press now halfway through the middle. So try to go over the top, and something's happened here. Two players have gone down, and it's going to be a Japan free kick. What happened there? So a Japan player tried to run in and it was blocked by a Vietnamese player. And it's going to be a free kick to Japan. This could be a real opportunity here for Japan, as they did score from a header in the match against Saudi Arabia. Okay, so probably arguably one of the first real opportunities here of this match, and it's in the fate of Japan. 18.5 minutes gone. It's going to go over the top, goes for the header. The ball is still in play. Nope, it is a goal kick for Vietnam. Did it cross the line? Yeah, it definitely did. Vietnam with another goal kick. I will say though, it's 20 minutes have almost gone. Not much has happened except Japan really controlling the possession. Japan now. They're going to control the pace of the play. They're going to pass it back and continue their play. Japan again. They just... I'm sorry there's not much commentary, but like realistically, not much has happened. It's almost... But then again, maybe it's just like the first half might be feeling the groove of the ground and stuff like that. And then the second half is where things get interesting. But here we go, Vietnam with a potential counter-attack here. Vietnam are passing around their defense, trying to figure a same route Japan has been doing for the last 20 minutes now. Oh, it's an interesting foul there. The foul's been let go, however. And now Japan now, could they be on an attack? They pass it down near side. And they're just, are they going to pass it back to the defense? Nope, they're going to pass it up to the far end now. Now the ball tries to go for the top for Japan, and it's just going to roll out for a goal kick to Vietnam. Wow. I don't want to say anything too early, but I think we're going to be in for an extra timer this one. Which we'll be able to have time to, because I said the thing wouldn't start, the China-Iran stream wouldn't start till 2:45. Oh, I don't... Yep, I think we'll be fine. Oh. Now the goal kick is having for Vietnam, and it's a race for the ball, and Vietnam have picked it up, and they are going to pass it all the way back to the goalkeeper. He passes it down the near. Try to send the ball down the line, and Vietnam have picked it up, but the ball will fall back to Japan. Japan are now in an interesting situation here. They can pass it down the line. There's a little opportunity, shot, and it's blocked by Vietnam. And it's going to be a corner for Japan. Remember, it was a corner where Japan got the goal that sends them into the quarterfinals against Saudi Arabia. Here we go, Japan. The corner's in. And the ball header, it's in! Japan have scored. And it's Yoshida, the captain of Japan, that has sent them into the lead. Are they going to introduce the VAR? Because it did look a fair bit scrappy. So Maya Yoshida gets his first goal of the tournament. So the ball has been whipped in. A header from Yoshida. And it may have had a deflection across the jersey of another Japanese player, but the goalkeeper couldn't react quick enough, so I think the goal will stand. It is Vietnam 0, Japan 1. So there we are. As I said, the game was looking for an opportunity. We have got one. 25 minutes gone. Hang on. They're having a check. They're going to review it. Hang on. Wow, hang on. Could we have our first big intervention of the VAR? What are they looking for? I think what they're looking for is potentially... It may have hit the back... Yoshida headed the ball and may have hit the back of a Japanese player who was in an offside position, meaning he interfered with the play. So that would mean that it would be a no goal. So what's happened here? The goal has been disallowed. The goal has been disallowed. Wow. So what? So they're calling it a handball, but from the way I see it, the ball was nowhere near the hand. Wow. It didn't take long for the VAR to potentially have cocked up a decision, but here we are. The goal has been disallowed. Wow. I'm shocked. I'm stunned. I'm genuinely stunned. I don't think the ball was anywhere near his hand. Even then, it's alongside his side, meaning it wasn't intentional. Here we go, Vietnam now on a counter-attack. This could be a massive thing. Vietnam with a shot, and it goes wide. It'll be a goal kick, but wow. That would have been a very interesting scenario if Vietnam did score there. We already know how controversial the VAR has been, particularly for the World Cup and the Hyundai A-League, but we've just seen it in full flight in the Asian Cup. 25 minutes, Chris Beef showing why he's the best referee in Australia. In my opinion, make the wrong decision. But you must say Vietnam now are quite lucky in this current situation. Now Japan now, can they try to get that goal back? Vietnam goes for the shot, and it's come off, I think, the head of Vietnam player, and it's going to be a corner, but a Vietnam player has gone down, because I think he got the ball straight to his head. Oh, yeah. Right at the forehead. That's gotta hurt. Ugh. Interesting stuff to talk about in the half-time. And Yoshida's laughing at the decision with the referee. He's handled it well. It's definitely not like it's the quarterfinals or anything. And the header! Oh, what a save by the Vietnam keeper. And it's won the ball back again. It's another header, but it's gone high and wide. No, it hasn't. Didn't even go out. Okay, I just got a notification saying there's 20% battery life, but don't worry, I am prepared. Portable batteries for the win. Luckily, I bought this stand for the phone, so it's not like balancing on, like, you know, traditional DVDs and stuff like that. Japan now trying to press on at the moment. Good on them. There we go. Now Vietnam trying to do something, but Japan again have recovered pretty well from that VAR decision. And now the ball gets cleared away by the Vietnam keeper and will go straight to Japan. The problem is, I must say, the VAR does really take like the celebration from a goal, because then you're like waiting to see if it will stand. So it was whipping in another header, but it was a fantastic save by Vietnamese goalkeeper, really getting both palms out. That's a textbook save. So Japan now resorting back to their old tactic of passing it around the defence, trying to find an opening. Oh, it's a lovely leave there. Now Japan are trying to get back into the box, but it gets cleared away again by Vietnam as we just tick over the 31-minute mark. Japan now maintaining the midfield. But they're kind of losing their possession weakly now to Vietnam, I must say. Vietnam doing a little bit of keepy ups, and now Japan has picked the ball up back from that attempted clearance. Japan now trying to press and try to get another opportunity as replicant as that corner. Oh, that could have been a handball there by Vietnam, but the referee has not looked at it. If that was a handball, then Yoshida's one definitely was. And Japan now have conceded a free kick roughly on halfway. Japan now, let's see, and just like that they get the ball out of their half, but immediately goes back in now with Vietnam. The ball goes over the top, but it's a bit too heavy and it'll be a goal kick for Japan. I don't even know I'm sitting arch. I could just lie back like this, but that just shows me being half-assed and lazy. Whatever. But anyways, Japan. Yeah. There we go. We got the links. Yeah, the boys. Japan now are now in Vietnam's half, trying to get another opportunity alongside their ones in the corner. Japan trying to win the ball. That should be a foul there against Japan, and I believe it is. And they immediately pass back to their defense, trying to, again, strangle their opponents into exposing their flanks. But it hasn't worked this time, as Vietnam have now picked up the ball, and a Vietnam player has gone down. But they're not noticing. They're calling for the whistle to be stopped. And they'll pass the ball out of play. It is number 19 for Vietnam. What has happened? So I believe I think he's taken a knee to his lower back. Yeah, that's a pretty sensitive part of your body. That would hurt quite badly. Vietnam now passes back to the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper boots it. Japan wins the header, but Vietnam will recollect the ball and they'll try to do something with the ball here. Got a bottle of water here. And Japan is now gone to their half, and they pass it back to their keeper. Japan now trying to attempt to do something here. The ball's falling back to Vietnam in their half, and they're going to try to get out of here. They've got opportunity here. They've sent it down the near end of the field, and they've released it. They're trying to get a cross in, and it's fallen to no one. And Japan are trying to figure out a way to get rid of it. And it's landed back to Vietnam header, but it's again cleared again by Japan, this time more efficiently. No, it's not. Vietnam still have possession. They're trying to break into the box. Long out of the box. Shot, and it's a miss hit. A second shot, saved by the keeper. I need to be a bit more calmer. it was nice. It was great of him actually to get the shot off, because I thought that was going to go nowhere near, but it could have snuck into the bottom left, and the keeper dealt with it diligently. God, I'm already tired now, and we're not even halfway through this match. We're meant to do another match after this with China and Iran. This is going to be entertaining. Japan have now got the ball in their field. And it's a header that tried to get a run onto it, but it does fall to the Vietnamese goalkeeper. Puts the ball down and boots it. And it's booted up into the air by Japan. And it will go out and be a throw-in to Vietnam. What was that for a throw-in? He tried to do a regular throw-in, but it was like body collapsed upon himself. Japan's in a bit of trouble here. Vietnam have a chance here. What a save by the goalkeeper. That was almost the biggest of mishaps by Japan. And it's a header, and it's saved by Japan. So the defender passed it back to Japan, and the goalkeeper passed it to the defender, but it takes too big of a touch and leaves it to a Vietnamese player who takes a shot and makes the Vietnam keeper, in his response, makes a brilliant save. That could have really made Vietnam go 1-0 up there. And now Japan now are trying to press now into Vietnam's territory, which they have done a fair amount so far this match. Try to whip it in. That's lovely blocking from the head of the Vietnamese player. And again, he's been kicked in the head with the ball, and it's another player down. Hopefully it's not the same person. Ugh. Ugh. And now the throw will be played in and be booted straight down to the Japanese goalkeeper. And our play resumes. We're coming now down to with 5 minutes left until added time. Could something happen here that could change the team talk heading into the sheds? We don't know. Japan now doing what they do so well, is trying to strangle the opponent's defense. And they try to whip the ball into the net, and it's cleared away by the Vietnamese defender. And Japan now, as I see it, has been a little bit more sloppy in the last 5 minutes. And that's a blatant bring down of the Japanese player, and it's going to be a free kick to Japan. Could something happen here? Okay, so it's not a lot. It's like, on my phone here, it's like at the top here, it's a lot brighter than actually is. I think it's probably something to do with said phone. I thought maybe it could have been the light, but it's actually not. Okay, so now it's another free kick here for Japan. 35 yards out on the near side. No point of shooting, it's just going to be a whip in. And it's whipped in. It could be a bit too deep. Punched away by the Vietnamese goalkeeper. Throw into Japan. There we go. Now Japan now trying to press so much. Now we've got the lights back on. So now it's going to be a corner now for Japan on the near side. They whip it in. The header is probably bounced off Japanese head, but it's fallen to a player on the far side. Whips the ball in, and it's going to go over the top. It's going to be a goal kick to Vietnam. There's the bottle there. 2 minutes until we find out how much at a time there will be in this matchup for the first half. My guess has been a little bit more stoppages, so maybe like 2 to 3 minutes. And it is a stat for possession, 33% for Vietnam, 67% for Japan. Now that is a very interesting statistic right there. Just shows how much Japan has had control over this match. And Japan now pass it back to their keeper, who now boots it, which will fall for a Vietnamese head. So now, 1 minute left until we find out how many adamants will be on, as we just ticked over 60 minutes on the stream. And now Vietnam, could they be on the verge of a counter-attack? But Japan have stolen it here. It's a bit of shirt pulling here, and it's advantage played here for Japan. They could do something here. It's a through ball, it's a shot! And it's been saved. A big boy save by the Vietnamese goalkeeper. He's doing quite well here. And it's going to be another goal corner to Japan. That's a brilliant one-handed save. From one keeper to another, mad respect for that one. Two minutes of added time have been confirmed. Japan now whip it in. It's headed away by the Vietnamese. So now Japan now trying to press from the left flank. Trying to work of a way of trying to get one last attack in, as we've got 90 seconds left of the first half. Vietnam have with the ball in, but it's cleared away by the Vietnamese headers. And now could Vietnam try to cause one last counter-attack with 1 minute to go in the half. Oh, that has to be a foul. Napi's told to get up. Interesting. Interesting scenario there. Okay, now Japan now, can they conjure up one last attack? They're going for it now. Try to get in, but it's too heavy of a touch and it'll fall straight into the feet of the Vietnamese goalkeeper. As soon as the Vietnamese goalkeeper will take the kick. There it is. Half-time, controversially 0-0 as Yoshida got a header in to make it 1-0. However, the goal was chalked off by the VAR because of the potential handball that happened in the box, which in my opinion didn't happen. Maybe kind of what it is when Chris Beef is the head VAR official, but hey, whatever. So it's halftime, Vietnam 0, Japan 0. It's halftime. Whoosh, go. Do we get some of these effects going? Oh, we can. There we go. I've got a handle on this now, so it's pretty good, pretty epic. Oh, no, we don't want to look at that. It's on a slant. It's on a bit of a slant, yeah. Does that mean if I could flip it like this? No, it's only locked to that. Okay, yep, that's how everything works. No, mate. Why is it always on a friggin' lean? Okay, but anyways, it is currently half time. It is. So the game is currently half time. Oh, mate. So it's half time. So it's half time. 0-0 Vietnam versus Japan, even though Japan should be 1-0 up in my opinion, but what else? That's what VAR does. Potentially kills games. So I'll be back within 10 minutes just to recuperate, and we'll be back for the second half. Okay, so we're back. Did I miss anything? No, we have not. So it's time now to talk about the VAR decision. I was wrong. What I thought was the decision they made, the handball decision, was you should have headed the ball and it hit another Japanese player in the arm. It apparently was not that. It was he headed the ball onto his own arm. And looking at the review, it was definitely a handball, and it should have been disallowed. So there is a correction right there. So, with the game being 0-0, opportunities are still arising. What does everybody make from that first half performance there? I definitely believe that Japan are still in the quite control, but Vietnam are proving shines of life. Okay, so we're going to be, in a few minutes' time, will be the kickoff of the second half. Figure out, so we're currently at bar. Brilliant, there we go. We can try to center this. This could be quite nice. This was a laid, chilled back approach. Oh, God. Okay, epilepsy warning there. I did not expect the flashlights to just go strobe like that. Jeez. That gave me shivers. Okay. Just getting ready for any moment the second half of starting in tonight's double header. Just trying to figure out like a few issues. With my phone. So we just like flip it up here quickly. Okay. Just trying to fix everything stuffed out, and now both teams are currently out now, getting ready for the second half of this match between Japan. It's like, where do I put this? Do I put it down there? No. Do I put something like down here? No, it's a shit look. We'll just stick with. Oh no. No, no, no. Second half has just kicked off. There we go. So currently, it has gone a lot darker over in Dubai, obviously because it's starting to become nighttime. Because that's how the world works. So now, Japan now, are they going to do the same tactics that they've been doing, which is worked kind of well, or will Vietnam make them change their tactics? It's going to be really interesting to see how this second half will play out in the gym, because the semi-final spot is on the line. Okay, so now both teams now, you'd think they'd be more confident, but they're now probably just again just resting their nerves from the second half and just realise the job at hand. Okay, now Vietnam are trying to hold back, but Japan have now entered Vietnam's half and they're trying to press. Trying to go over the top, meets ahead of Vietnamese player who boots the ball out. And just a clarification, Japan are kicking to the left, while Vietnam are kicking to the right. I think the ball went out there, but no, still playing on. Ghost maybe, I don't know. And Japan have tried to go over the top here. It has worked, but they just have to. I'm just gonna put it here so I'm like, I seem louder. No, no, it doesn't work. It just makes me look a lot weirder, and it makes me feel less comfortable. Vietnam now trying to press the ball line, but it has gone for a throw-in in their half, near the halfway line. And now Japan are currently having the ball again and maintaining their possession tactics, doing something completely opposite as they have been doing so far this Asian Cup. Japan now have the ball, they could send the ball over the top of Vietnam. Marv holding on here. Japan now, and they try to send a ball down the line, trying to get something happen. Vietnam have just been met there, and Japan again. Just all the clearances just keep going to the balance of the team that's currently having the momentum, and so far now, and for the majority of the match, it has been Japan. Okay, Japan now. Trying to implement something. Oh, that's a nice little play there, because something of work come into that. It is whipped in, a header, and it's fallen to touch for number 8. No shot, but it gets cleared away by Vietnam. Okay, so now Japan really trying to hold on to possession. As the stats would be nearly into the 70% of their possession. Okay, so now Japan again showing why they are arguably one of the most dominant teams in Asian football history. Just really controlling it. They send it down to the right. Okay, something happened here. There's 3 Vietnamese players on that one player. The shot from outside, and it gets chested down by the Vietnamese goalkeeper. No, it's not going to reflect. No, won't. Japan now, they try to press down the line. A Japanese player has gone down in the box. And he's told to get back up by the referee. Could the VAR intervene? Could this mean the VAR make an intervention? Nah, it can't be a penalty. I need something just to keep me awake. Like, wow, that was ridiculously bright. And we've got a substitute now. And it's the first substitute for Vietnam. Which means Wang Hoi Hong will be coming off of Wang Van Toen. I think I butchered the names, but whatever. Are they checking the VAR for the... Are they? They might be checking that for a penalty for Japan. They're checking it again, but a play's already happened, so technically it shouldn't go to a video ref. I'm confused here. A player's already been played. They can't just go back for a penalty. Let's have a look. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. So the final decision rests on the referee. This could be a big moment in terms of the quarterfinals. It's a penalty for Japan. A penalty has been given for Japan. And it's a yellow card by BT Dung. I don't mind if it's a penalty decision, but it was like 2 minutes ago. It's been 2 minutes since the initial tackle. So when a play happens, they have to move on. But they've brought it back for the penalty. That's ridiculous. Wow. That's going to be a very interesting situation to develop here. So now we've got a penalty shootout here for Japan. Penalty shot for Japan. He takes a shot, and it's in. 1-0 Japan. It will count. So it's 57th minute from a penalty spot. Vietnam 0, Japan 1. That's going to be in the news. The Vietnamese goalkeeper went the right way, but was just too late. And Japan straight from the corner penalty. Oh, and another chance here. They're in the box. And another player from Vietnam has gone down. And they're asking for another penalty. Won't happen. Wow, it's all happening here. It's a lovely through ball there. Japan over the top. And it's another player's gone down. Friggin' hell, Japan. Japan, who have won a penalty off a questionable decision that took 4 minutes to make. Now they think they can try to win anyone now. Oh no, that was just a ridiculous jump. Now Vietnam are trying to think, how can they try to come back from this? Whoa. And it's now a free kick now for Japan. So that means Duan Van Hu has gotten a second yellow card in a row, meaning that if Vietnam do come back and win the semi-final, he will miss out. Well, that was a friggin' dive. You got the ball. You got the ball on the man. That's technically a legal tackle. I don't understand why it's a yellow. Or a foul, anyway. It looks like preparing Vietnam are going to be making a second sub, bearing in mind Japan haven't made one yet. And just a little bit of an update now, 60 minutes have gone. Vietnam 0, Japan 1. And a Japan player has gone down, but the referee has waved it off. Japan are now really starting to rifle in the Vietnamese half. That's the first yawn. It's going to be a Daniel slip from here. Oh. Now Japan now. Oh, that's an advantage played there for Japan. Could something happen from this? It's a lovely through ball, but it's cleared away by Vietnam. Anyone who's still watching this is an absolute hero, because literally all this is just me descending into madness. I've tried not to yawn and try not to get to sleep, so I commend you all. So now Japan are currently passing it around the defense, doing as much possession game as they can possibly do, because potentially Japan doesn't need to score. All they need, what needs to happen is Vietnam to get a foul. And now it looks like Vietnam are about to make their second sub. So Huang Trong Huang coming off of Yuan Phong Doi. I'm saying Yuan's potentially a very famous name in Vietnam. Pretty interesting, however, though, is the handshakes you gave to the coach and the assistant coach were very fish, like the sloppy fish handshake. Oh, come on! Jeez, that was a pretty of a pedantic dive there from that Vietnam player. Vietnam now they need to think of a way to try to break that problem with being 1-0 down. The problem is though, Japan has just been strangleholding, so Vietnam, as of now, just don't have an answer. I'm genuinely just thinking that I'm just going to be legit just falling asleep in the China versus Iran match, and it's going to be literally just the first live stream where it's just literally someone sleeping. Japan, there's a player down at the far end of the Vietnam half. Japan is still playing on. They try to get a little header, but it gets put away by the Vietnamese goalkeeper, and it'll be a corner now for Japan. I don't think the Vietnamese goalkeeper was expecting the ball to come in that quickly, so he had to get rid of it. Ugh. Now Japan take the corner short. Ball's whipped in the end. It's cleared away by the Vietnamese, but it's just going to fall back to Japan's defence again, which has been their biggest key factor ever since this entire match. Japan now, they've got a big amount of space here at the moment, and it's a shot the header's over the bar, but he was offside anyways. I was about to say if they didn't pick that up, that would have been interesting. Yep, definitely offside there. Right decision. The Vietnamese fans maybe potentially starting to lose hope a little bit with every passing second and every passing minute. But could anything happen to try to spark up this the Vietnamese attack? Oh, that's a lovely play there by Japan, but they just can't break through. There should be a foul there, but Japan are playing on. But it's just vigorous defence here from Vietnam as we have just crossed the 100-minute mark of this stream. And bear in mind, there's still 24 minutes plus added on of this match, and we still got to do another match of China versus Iran. And the shot here by Japan straight into the hands of the Vietnamese goalkeeper. Something needs to happen for Vietnam. It's just, I know I sound like a broken record, but that's just literally what is happening. It's just the same thing over and over again with this match. Vietnam now breaking down on the far side of Japan's half. Can they manufacture something? You go for a long range shot, but it rides on the ground. It'll be it's a corner, as it was taken a touch from a Japanese player. Could something like this really spark the Vietnamese attack? The corner is whipped. It'll be booted all the way up into the air. And it'll be a throw into Vietnam in Japan's half. So now coming down 21 minutes remaining. Plus we've also added time in there. Vietnam have now they've got possession of the ball from the example of their goalkeeper. So, oh god. I'm generally seriously debating about doing the other match tonight. I don't think we're gonna last. Ball's going over the top, but it's going to go straight to the Japanese goalkeeper. As we now take over to 20 minutes remaining in this match. We've plus out of time, obviously. But, ugh. For those who don't know this situation now, it is currently, I'm in Australia, meaning we've got like the furthest time thing. I've been up for, so the time now is 1:30. It is 1 goddamn 30, and I've been up since 8 AM. So I'm on riding on 16 hours. It's a miracle I'm still awake by now, but we're still going. We're on this grind together. It isn't going to be pretty, but it's going to get through. Knowing these games are probably just going to piss me off, and they'll just go both to go to extra time and penalties. And here comes the first substitute here for Japan. And Takiro Tomiyasu is coming off for Yuya Osaka. So that's the first substitute there for Japan. Japan now, could they be going in for the final kill here? Oh, that back heel could have been so perfect, but it just didn't go to plan now, did it? So Japan now passed it. Vietnam have now passed it back to their goalkeeper. Oh, and there's been a second substitute actually. Yuya Osaka has come on for Koya Kitawara. Oh, that was the correct substitute. I think they messed up there. Vietnam now. Can they press for something? They go for the shot. It's joked down the line. Did the goalkeeper get a hand to it? I don't think it did. It'll be a goal kick now for Japan, but that was a really good chance there. Great opportunity there. Ugh. I'm just gonna keep it like this. No, stupid. I am losing my mind. I am. There, perfect. Scale at the moment. Somehow both teams have had the same amount of shots. So Vietnam here. Do they do something? No, it's been cleared away. Vietnam still have possession here. Try to whip the ball in the air. Pretty sure it took a deflection off a Japanese player. It should be a corner, but nope, it's been given as a goal kick. 74th minute now. 16 minutes plus at a time. And the Vietnamese keeper has just had some kind of spray applied to him. Don't know what it is, but play on. And Japan now press down the other end. It's a lovely free ball. Could a shot take place? Nope. And it's a free kick given to Vietnam. Very interesting situation there. I think the Vietnamese defender went down a little bit too soft in my opinion. And here comes the third and final substitute for Vietnam. Luang Zhuang Trong to be replaced by Fan Van Duk. Vietnam now still have possession. Can they do something with it here? He's still going. What a trooper. Tries to get a shot off, but it'll just roll into the hands of the Japanese keeper. Realistically, I want a Vietnamese goal to see if it goes to extra time, but then again, I want Japan to score so the game gets over quicker. So I can have some kind of like preparation for the second game between China and Iran. "13 minutes remaining until added time." Oh, that's a player one-on-one Japan. Great save by the leg by the goalkeeper from Vietnam. It'll be a corner to Japan, but I feel like he could have been offside there. No, he wasn't. He timed it perfectly. Well done. So it's going to be another corner for Japan. Japan needs something to put the final nail in the coffin on Vietnam. The corner's whipped in. No one's onto it. It's onto another player. It's whipped up into the air. And it's punched away by the Vietnamese goalkeeper. But a Japanese player was offside, so it's going to be a free kick to the goalkeeper. Oh, that's very close. And Japan have now made their second substitute as of now. Genki Haraguchi has come on off for Takasha Inui, who plays for Real Betis in La Liga. I know players. As the ball now falls to the Japanese goalkeeper, we now have almost 11 minutes plus added time left in this game to decide who will be the first participant in the semi-finals. Japan now are trying to press on some kind of attack. Of Vietnam. But no, they don't play on because it's a foul. Shocking. Oh. Okay, we're now pushing on to the final 10 minutes of this match. This is big, go big or go home time, specifically for Vietnam. Now they pass it back to Japanese goalkeeper, with Japan maintaining control. Okay, so now 9 minutes remaining. Vietnam need something. But they look very depleted of energy. They need something. But then again, looking at Japan, they are also looking very depleted as well. Vietnam, can they play something here? It's a good opportunity, but it's a great tackle there to force the ball away for Japan. Can Japan here? Can Japan deliver a death blow? They can't now. Vietnam still has possession. Japan have now got it now. Still pressing into Vietnam's half. Time is really starting to run down here for Vietnam. Japan now. They're trying to press into the box. It's a lovely through ball there, but it's fallen straight to the goalkeeper's hands. That could have been an opportunity there to end it. Now Vietnam, they are pressing here, but there is a lot of players back here for Japan. And Vietnam try to go over the top, but it just goes straight to Japan. This goalkeeper. Now 6.5 minutes remaining now. This is where it gets tense. Vietnam currently have possession in Japan's half. Trying to send the ball down the line, but it's just too heavy. And it'll be a throw-in for Japan. Six minutes now remaining. And it's a foul now, won by Japan, by telling the players to go back and do it properly. Japan are now passing it back, trying to crunch up as much time as possible to secure themselves to the semi-final of the Asian Cup. The first time they would have reached it since 2011. Vietnam now. Could something happen here? They go for a long shot, but it's a fantastic block there by Yoshida. Vietnam still maintain possession. They whip it over the top. It's caught safely by Japan's goalkeeper. We are now under 5 minutes. Vietnam is certainly not out of this. What did Japan do? Do they hold on the ball and crunch as much time as possible? Or do they try to find a second goal to fully kill off Vietnam? Vietnam now. They have the ball. Can they do something here? But it's just clipped away. And Vietnam still have it. Vietnam is still fighting here. Vietnam trying to go over the top here. Oh, lovely control here. But the Japan player has clipped it away. It is going to be a corner here for Vietnam with almost 3 minutes left until added time. Vietnam is certainly not out of this. The tension is building here. We've just entered the 88th minute of play. Vietnam whipped it in, and it's cleared away by Japan. Vietnamese keeper has gone out to try to clear the ball away. Here's a stat about possession. 32% Vietnam, 68% Japan. Just shows how much control Japan has had over this match, but still haven't done much with it. And bearing in mind, just remember, if Vietnam do go to extra time, remember, they've made all of their subs. They will be, and a lot of them are looking really tired. We've now entered the 89th minute of play. Vietnam need to chuck bodies up. Shot to Matthias, shot! And it's just gone over the bar. Yep. And here we go. Here comes the final sub for Japan. Takumi Minamino comes off for Tuskina. I couldn't, the last name just disappeared, but now we are in the 90th minute of play. 89 minutes. Japan have got one hand at the moment on a semi-finals place. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much time is going to be added on and what could happen. We're about to find out. We're about to hit the 90-minute mark to see how much added time there will be for this match. 4 minutes. 4 minutes of added time. And potentially 4 minutes left in Vietnam's Asian Cup campaign. Something's happened here. What was it? I think it was an offside. It was an offside, so it'll be a free kick to Japan. Was the offside? Yep. Three minutes left. It's a free kick again now for Japan inside Vietnam's half. Vietnam cannot be giving away silly fouls like that. Time is crunching down here. 2 minutes remaining. They're going to play it short. Vietnam now, can they get possession of the ball? They do. They've got the ball over the top here, but it's a lovely clearance there by Japan. Vietnam have picked the ball up though. They've whipped it into a box for a header, and it's landed straight into the hands of the Japanese goalkeeper with 90 seconds remaining. Here we go. 1 minute to go. Can Vietnam? They are calling for all their players to press up now. Can they do something? It's got over the top, but he's lost control of the ball, and it's going to be for a goal kick. If just he controlled that, he could have been on a one-on-one opportunity there. But is that all she wrote? I think that could be it for Vietnam. There's 20 seconds remaining. And Japan have booted the ball down into deep Vietnam half territory. The whistle will go at any moment. That's it. The Blue Samurai are going to the semi-finals. Commiserations for Vietnam. They have fought valiantly, but Japan have hanged on to secure their spot into semi-final football. You've got to admire the heart of Vietnam, not giving up to the final whistle. But Japan, proving their experience, show why they are one of the best teams in Asian football. Wow. So now, that's the end of the game. The VAR was involved in that. in terms of the a controversial call for a penalty, but it ends there. So that is the end of this stream for Vietnam versus Japan. So I will try to make a decision, and you'll find out very soon about if I will do a stream for China and Iran. But anyways, it's bye for now. Congratulations to Japan for making it to the semi-finals.